What a time for hoops in the Hill City. We've got another edition of D3 Women's Basketball on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network as the Ferrum Panthers waltz into Turner Gymnasium to take on your hometown Lynchburg Hornets. Hi everybody, welcome inside Turner Gymnasium, Wayne Profit Court. Evan Gates alongside my good friend Andy Watson, and what a special day we have. National Girls and Women in Sports Day. The Women's Sports Foundation has invested over $100 million to expand access and opportunities for girls and women in sports, and established in 1974, the tradition still sticks today. We're so excited to have all the festivities going on in Turner. And Andy, just a great day for basketball.
Yeah, there's no better time to celebrate than watching a great ODAC women's basketball game here in Turner Gymnasium, and it's one that I think is very important for either of these teams. Obviously, as we take a look at the stats here, but Ferrum comes into this game 4-10 in the conference. Lynchburg comes in 7-7. You can kind of throw away those overall records. Ferrum kind of on the inside, kind of maybe with a couple teams breathing down their neck trying to take their spot in that final spot of the ODAC tournament. Lynchburg, on the other hand, an opportunity to maybe get out and get an opportunity to have that double bye, or that bye, sorry, in the ODAC tournament. And Lynchburg needs a big win here tonight. If they do it, they'll get at least a possibility to host that first round. But yeah, in this game, big disparity in that three-point shooting. Lynchburg, obviously, everybody knows the Hornets shoot the three ball well. They defend the three ball well. At the same time, Ferrum on the other side, the worst three-point shooting team in the league, but they get it done in other ways. They get inside, hit shots from the elbow, play at a slow pace. That contrasting of styles is going to be something that we highlight the entire night. And Evan, I'm just excited to be back in this seat sitting next to you for what should be a great game.
Well, and Andy, listen, you mentioned the tempo. There's not always a statistic for that on your chart, but you do know that Ferrum is a very slow team with their operation. They're going to look to get some passes, some cuts, some screens, use the shot clock, whereas Lynchburg trying to get off to a track race. You also mentioned that three-point shooting, 20% for the Panthers. That will have to be something that either improves today or they can use the free throw line. As we'll go ahead into our players to watch, and we start with one of the main characters on Ferrum's side. It's Kayla Cabanis, #1 in gold, and she is going to be a very big threat to watch in this game. The senior from Martinsville, Virginia, 16.3 points per game, second in the ODAC, as you see on your screen, but maybe even more impressive, 86% from the stripe. She is second in the ODAC in that, and interesting enough, first place is 93% from the line, and so, you know, that's hard to get better than 86. We've seen Cabanis this year, and Sarah Brandstatter, someone else who's very important.
Yeah, Brandstatter has been one of those focal points on either side of the ball this year for the Hornets. The graduate transfer came in from Roanoke, now playing here in the Hill City. I mean, she's really been one of those people for this Lynchburg team that kind of elevates them. 10 points per game, about 5 rebounds a game, gets it done on either side of the ball, and is just that leader on the court that this team needs. And, you know, in order for Lynchburg to play well tonight, especially if they get into one of those track race type games, she's going to be one of those leaders who's really going to have to help the Hornets in this game.
Stuffs the stat sheet for sure, and Brandstatter has been getting it done all season long. Played for Coach Nichols at Roanoke. So fortunate she's here at Lynchburg. And we'll go into our final segment, the gateway to success for this contest. Two teams that are going to rely on their styles. For Ferrum, it's about fundamental basketball, averaging 19.5 turnovers per game, and if Lynchburg can get out to the races, that can be a problem. 28 turnovers in a loss versus Guilford just a couple games ago for the Panthers. So watching that, as well as cherishing the charity stripe. Kayla Cabanis, as we said, second in the conference with 86%. She's averaging about 5 attempts per game. We know the team also likes getting there with their paint presence. For Lynchburg, you got to have a parade around the perimeter, right? It's been all season long. The three shooting on display, 32% from the three-point line compared to Ferrum's 19. And then communicating on defense, you'll see it unwind throughout the contest, but Ferrum likes to set screens, like to have action up front. And Andy, you think about a squad that uses a shot clock, well, you also have to consider the fact that you're losing that time. And so if Lynchburg gets a few quick ones, you got to make sure you can come back.
Yeah, for Ferrum, I think it's something we'll probably talk about later in the game, but it's when Lynchburg goes on their run, they always do, and I'm sure they will tonight, but when they go on that run, take a little bit of a lead, it's kind of just showing your poise if you're the Panthers in this one. You don't really want to get ahead of yourselves. A track race is not necessarily their style. If they play in the half court, comfortable, late in the shot clock, and just control the tempo, don't turn the ball over, and get to the free throw line as often as possible, Ferrum is going to be in a great spot to try and upset the Hornets here in Turner Gymnasium.
So much fun, and the fun is just getting started. Poised, powerful, and ready to play inside Turner Gymnasium. On the other side, we'll have starters and the opening tip in the Hill City.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Living the dream. USA, Mexico. That was so exciting.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got one professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature. You'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
Today's a rough day. Jess and I are officially on a break. The couple canoe has broken up.
It's not.
How you feeling?
Living the dream.
Just canoeing. That's the Mexican side behind me. The U.S. is that way.
So far, we're all still alive.
I really want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Woo! We did it! Kind of.
Look what you're missing!
It really don't matter to me, I'm just happy to be here, I might go crazy.
Think a private education is too expensive? Think again. At the University of Lynchburg, you can get a personalized education for the cost of a state school. If you're commuting and you get our top scholarships, you could pay much less. And you get all that without the hassle of giant lecture halls. Our faculty know your name here and do more than just teach. You might even do research together and plan out your next career moves.
Welcome back on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network, and it's just about time for tips, so we'll go ahead and get you those starting lineups here in the building, Turner Gymnasium. It's been some relatively warm days outside, but during this time of the year, we know it's always ready to heat up in the gym. For Ferrum, very familiar faces up front, Kayla Cavanis, the senior from Martinsville, Virginia. We talked about her earlier. She has been sensational this season, 31 in the season opener versus William Peace. It'll be Trina Lewis, the senior from Muskegon, Michigan, And she is also one of those players who is just really using every role on the floor. Sensational with 46 offensive rebounds. Number 11, Taryn Blankenship, the 6-foot sophomore from Pulaski, Virginia. Number 12, Alessandria Thomas, 5'5" junior from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And number 13, Erin Harden. She was high school teammates with Darcy Ross at Allegheny High School. And this is a Ferrum squad that we've seen in this building a couple times throughout the years. But obviously, last year, sending Lynchburg home in that ODAC tournament.
Yeah, and for Ferrum, obviously talking about that starting five, I mean, they are some great one-on-one defenders. They don't do a lot of switching on the defensive end, and when they're not playing in a zone, that man defense is something that has really been one of the best in the conference, giving up only 58 points per game. Now, the offense hasn't really translated from that, but if they can keep Lynchburg out from getting out in transition and just being comfortable playing in the half court, it's going to be a tough day for the Hornets, and both these teams are definitely looking for a big win to elevate themselves to finish this year.
Same starting lineup for the Hornets that we've seen. Macy Mullins, Sayre Brandstatter, Sammy Sever, Brooke Kaysen, and Bree Spainauer. You'll hear their names quite often throughout this contest as the ball is up and away, and Mullins corrals. Jennings Custis, Curtis Miles, and Charlene Pham, your officiating crew for this ball game. And right away we see Lynchburg trying to spread it out as Sever takes it to the rack, stops baseline. Lots of passing you'll see around the perimeter this game. And if you haven't watched Lynchburg this season, watch the three ball. Here it is from Sever, misses everything. And Cavanis going to get the opening rebound.
Ferrum looking very comfortable there, not switching much and playing late into the shot clock. Sever had to force one up.
Interesting to see early in this game how they work offensively, how much time they take as shots off the mark from Harden, but she gets her own rebound. And the Panthers just continuing to try and stick to that game plan. It works well on the opening offensive possession as Taryn Blankenship going to get the first points of the ball game. Talked about Sayre Brandstatter earlier. She's been at that point guard position throughout this year, but when you bring her into the system with Macy Mullins also at your disposal, you know you can really throw different looks at defenses.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to know, especially for Brandstatter, that she doesn't have to do it all on her own. She can dish it off to anybody on the floor, and they can knock it down from pretty much anywhere. So Lynchburg in a really good spot, but they're going to have to figure out a way to defend inside that painted area if they're going to stay close in this one.
Got to watch the mid-range, too. It's money from Trina Lewis, and a little bit of full court pressure, maybe just giving a little look to try and rattle the Hornets as Sever tries to go sideline, picks up her dribble, could be trouble. Brandstatter went back court, so a few nice possessions for Ferrum. We saw that trouble when Sever picked up her dribble, just wrong spot at the wrong time, and now the Panthers have an opportunity to go up early. Trina Lewis, you see on that jump shot, the mid-range is going to treat the Panthers very well if they can use it throughout this ball game, because you're going to see them at the elbows and the paint, and then when you can go inside out, that jump shot's normally going to be there.
And they don't run a lot of actions to get shots from the perimeter. If they can get it inside, they're going to do so. The only time you're really going to see them put one up from outside is when it's wide open, or if it's late in the shot clock, and they are definitely working those mid-range jumpers here in the early going of this game.
Trina Lewis again, and 3 quick twos for Ferrum. They go up 6-0. So if you're Coach Nichols, maybe just a little bit of cautiousness early in this ball game, but we do know the Hornets can heat up quickly. Here's Sever getting to the dish, rattles it home. The senior from Cary, North Carolina, she's done it all season long, coming off a little bit of a very interesting 2023, we'll put it that way, coming off an injury, and this season really a main contributor for the squad.
Yeah, third leading scorer for the Hornets. She'll be a focal point this evening for Lynchburg, and if she's hitting, then a lot of the other players can be able to get involved too.
Brandstatter was wide open. She passes to Sever, and there's another mid-range. Finger in the air, and right away, the Hornets respond. 6-4 in the early going. If you're just joining us, very special occasion here in Lynchburg. National Girls and Women in Sports Day. You're going to talk about it throughout the broadcast, and really not just for basketball, but every sport on campus. We are so fortunate to be able to honor this occasion. Traveling violation, and the Hornets will take over again. So a few quick runs as we get started. Lynchburg coming off a very big win at Holland, 72-33. Shot 52.5% from the field. That's the best this season. And when you have confidence coming out of that gym, you know you can really try to gain momentum down the stretch.
And coming into this contest as well, Ferrum with a little bit of momentum, especially on the defensive end, only giving up 31 points in their last contest against Virginia Wesleyan. They're going to definitely start picking it up.
See a little bit of tempo after the make from Spainhour as Thomas tried to maybe catch the Hornets napping. The thing about tempo is not only do you understand it if you run it on offense, but you're usually prepared to guard it. Cabinets, 3 no good. Here comes Brandstatter. Leads it up to Sever. She's going to get the easy one, right hand up, and it's a quick run for Lynchburg to come right back and take the lead early.
Sever already up to 6 points and doing well getting out in transition. Not much that anybody there for Ferrum could do on the defensive end.
8-0 run for the Hornets, and retaliation. We'll see if they can keep things rolling. Shot off the mark. Lewis was in the right spot. Gets the rebound and puts it right back up. So it's 6 points for Trina Lewis as we're knotted at 8. Talked about Lynchburg's last game and some very nice performances. Well, Ferrum also got a win to break a 9-game losing streak. So you talk about trying to get confidence. And against Virginia Wesleyan, the 52-31 victory, something they're going to try to carry into today. 9 of 10 players who entered the game for Ferrum got some points on the stat sheet. So trying to get back in the right direction. And Andy, we know at this stage of the season, you just have to really make sure that you're dialed in every single time you step on the court.
Yeah, and for both these teams, obviously fighting for kind of the same position. Lynchburg looking to get out of that first round. Ferrum looking to cement themselves into the ODAC tournament. And we talked about it before the game. A little too early to say, but Ferrum right now would be in this gym for that first round. So either way, maybe just getting a feel for the either side, and especially playing in here against Lynchburg is always a tough task.
Turnover from Kaylee Schreffler. She entered the contest, and you obviously can't get ahead of yourself, but you do understand that Lynchburg has some winnable games down the stretch, and we know that the schedule on the ODAC is always going to be difficult, but this is a chance for the Hornets to maybe get close with catching the Roanoke Maroons, who currently sit in 6th. We'll have to see how that picture unravels as Spainhour hits front iron. Rebound corralled, and here come the Panthers. It's Cabinets going to jog across the timeline. We've seen Ferrum in those back cuts today. It's still looking, trying to get those paint looks. There's one from Schreffler. It was a beautifully executed play and an easy 2. Interesting enough, no 3-pointers yet. 20 total points. You don't always see that with Lynchburg early in ball games. Maybe it will change here. Olivia Harris, every part of the rim but in, and Casey Kelly comes away with the offensive rebound. Sever for 3, no good. Who wants it? Foul's going to be called on the rebound. And it looks like it's going to be called on Olivia Harris. We'll wait for confirmation as we will head to the media timeout. So very fun, energetic, quick pace start. And we are tied up at 10 here in Lynchburg. Back on the other side for more action from the first quarter.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a Teaching and Learning Resources Conference here about getting his program more involved on the academic side of campus. I mentioned computers and mapping, and he mentioned caving, and eventually we came up with the idea of mapping cave.
.353 to play in the opening quarter here in Lynchburg. Right now, 10-10 is your score line, and we've talked about Ferrum's personnel right now. It is Kayla Cabanis, who has been sensational throughout the year, 16 points per game, just about 3.5 rebounds, but someone that they have been missing for the majority of this 2023-2024 campaign is Demisha Canada, injured after playing the first 2 games of the season, but Ferrum is still trying to find their way without their post presence as Asa Williams will hit the easy 2. Passing around the perimeter, Olivia Harris, nice pump fake, gets it out to Sever, the southpaw, sends it home, 3 points, and the first 3-pointer of the game, and the Hornets take it by 1 point again, so the lead back and forth. Lots of fun in the early going.
Sever already up to 9 points in this contest. He has 9 of the first 13 for Lynchburg, right around her average already, so maybe a big night coming for Sammy Sever.
Another one from Williams, and we've seen that mid-range. That has been open all day long for Ferrum. Has a little bit of half-court pressure. We've seen Lynchburg get trapped near the sideline. Problem is you got to let it go after as Sever tries to get to the hoop. She's going to be fouled, and we will have 2 shots. Sever, one of those players, Andy, she's always looking to get to the hoop, but her 3-point shot has really opened up opportunities, not just for her, but for this entire team.
Yeah, and it also really helps a lot, specifically for her, when someone has to close out on the perimeter. Attacking that closeout like she did there is something that, you know, is a very positive sign and taking advantage.
2 shots from Sever. And Lynchburg going to have their hands full if they get to the ODAC tournament, having a game here, because obviously you add an extra one to a tournament that is already very difficult. We saw Washington and Lee in this gym last week. We know Mary Schleissner having an All-American caliber season, and so you're really hoping that you get a few wins, trying to sneak into that top 6 and punch that ticket straight to Salem. Cabanis going to take it across the timeline, man-to-man D for Lynchburg. Ferrum will go into some zone. We haven't seen it yet, but interesting look. If they continue that half-court pressure, maybe regressing into zone defense. Williams is just automatic early on. 3 easy 2s. The junior from Tuscumbia, Alabama. And here's that pressure. Will it be a turnover? Jump ball will send it the Panthers' way. So once again, just unraveling this Lynchburg offense a little bit. You never like that if you can't get across half court. Good shot of it there. Mullins able to get the tie up, but can't get the ball cleanly. So here comes Cabanis again. Game that could go back and forth. Depends on the tempo as Kaysen will get the turnover. Harris plays through contact off the window and in. Pretty look as Lynchburg continues to fight back. A little bit of transition. We've seen Ferrum use it some. Cabanis gonna hit Schreffler, loses the ball. Mullins, nice work defensively. Here comes Gant. Hornets off to the races. Jump stop out to Kaysen for 3, no good. Rattles off the rim. Taylor Brown back out to Mullins. Second opportunity, and you know it. Macy Mullins, the sophomore from Gate City, posting another 3 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and right there for Ferrum, that's exactly what you don't want to see. You don't want to see the Hornets getting out in transition, even though it didn't really come from a basket right away. But, I mean, that turnover kind of doesn't allow Ferrum to set up that defense how they like. They're all collapsing in, trying to fill the lane and stop that drive, and then leads to the open kick out after the miss from Brooke Kaysen.
Always opportunities, too, because you know with those 3-point shots, you're going to have long rebounds throughout the game. Sometimes when you pack in your defense, that can be very tough to guard. As Mullins going to be called for the contact. It'll send number 11, Taryn Blankenship, to the line. Blankenship this season, just about 7 points and 5 rebounds a game. First in the ODAC with 2.5 steals. She will get this one, and Olivia Harris going to take it the other way. Lynchburg showing their dynamic depth at the guard position. Andy, we know there's so many people who can have the ball in their hands.
Yeah, and Ferrum giving a little bit of a different look here on the defensive end. They go away from that full court pressure and instead force Lynchburg to obviously play late in the shot clock. First possession against that zone is always going to be tough, but maybe they'll get an open look.
Olivia Harris got one, just misses. Mullins, reverse layup, just clips off the rim. And Ferrum can wait for the last shot if they want it. Thomas runs into traffic, and she'll pull it back out top. 17 seconds to go. Lynchburg up 2 in this opening quarter. See the rotations outside, still looking at the paint. Here comes Blankenship, plays through it, and Brown's going to be whistled for another foul.
Yeah, Lynchburg there definitely watching the film on Blankenship, deadly from the elbows, and the pump fake just gets Brown off her feet a little bit, allows Blankenship to drive. She'll have 2 more chances at the free throw line, and this is exactly where that game was won last time these two teams met. Got to the free throw line a lot. I believe 4 players fouled out in that contest, 2 on either side. So very important to control the line and control how many fouls you're giving tonight, especially if you're Lynchburg for a team in Ferrum who shoots it so well.
Well, obviously, that slows down the game, slows down the pace, as Harris got one off from the Hornet logo, just can't connect. And that is how we finish the first quarter. 20/20 vision through 10 minutes. We'll be back on the other side with the second quarter and a very fun one here in the ODAC from the Hill City. We have a fun toss-up in Turner Gymnasium. So glad you've joined us. Evan Gates and Andy Watson walking you through this one. And very interesting first quarter. We've seen lots of changes in tempo. We know that the free throw line could be a big equalizer for the Panthers, but Lynchburg just still trying to find that transition offense.
Yeah, and Lynchburg, someone who relies on the 3 ball quite often, shooting 25%, went 2 of 8 in that first half. Sever leading the way with 11 points, and on the other side for Ferrum, 3 players with 6 points. I mean, it's going to be a tough one, especially when Ferrum is shooting 8 for 12 from the field. They've only attempted 1 3-pointer, so definitely dominating that painted area. Love an opportunity to take the lead here.
Very big difference in styles. You're going to see it all game. Here comes Thomas, trying to hold her foot. It's going to be a traveling violation. We've talked throughout the season about Lynchburg just trying to play 4 quarters of basketball, and that's something they're going to try to do today. Obviously, you get out a little bit of a slugfest in that first quarter, but got the chance to catch up with Sarah Brandstatter before the game, and she said, you know, the big improvement before that ODAC tournament is playing 40 minutes of basketball. You just really got to have endurance down the stretch and understand why you're going to play, why you're going out for your teammates, and that Hollins game could be a very big momentum shifter if the Hornets can use it.
Yeah, and even just talking about the first quarter, I mean, both teams put up 20 points, and obviously that's not really a tough thing to do, but for these teams shooting the percentage that they are to this point in this game, obviously you build off just the first quarter and say, hey, we can keep doing this, especially if you're Ferrum getting the ball inside, getting easy looks.
Well, you know you can control your defense and your aggression. Sometimes that'll open other doors. Cabanis picks up her dribble. Still searching. Trying to create space. Shot hits the front end just a little short. Here comes Kaysen. Off to the races. Brandstatter. Extra pass to Letty Michael in the corner. No good. Ball still loose. Blankenship gets it. Ferrum showing a little bit of pace as well. Here comes Thomas getting to the hoop, and it's going to be a foul to protect the easy basket. So it's going to be 2 shots from Alessandria Thomas. And another one on Macy Mullins. Believe that's going to be her second early in this ball game as Ashley Vandergrift steps in.
Yeah, great drive there from Thomas, just getting downhill in transition, realizing the weak side defender wasn't paying attention, didn't step over until that foul was given. But, I mean, Ferrum doing really well playing that fast-paced offense that Lynchburg wants to run. And if Lynchburg can't stay with Ferrum in transition, it's going to be kind of a difficult task when you really thought that this was just going to be a slow-paced game if Ferrum controlled the tempo.
Well, obviously, it's not their bread and butter, but they can hang as offensive rebound gets away to Cabanis, who misses everything from 3-point range. It's going to dribble out of bounds. This is a Ferrum squad that shoots just under 20% from the perimeter, something that throughout the season you just got to build on your style, and they learned that very early. Coach Harvey's squad has done a great job of still finding the paint. Started 5-1 this season. Just some trouble in ODAC play. Vandergrift's shot rattles off the mark. Panthers back the other way. They certainly look like they belong in this ball game in the opening 12+ minutes. Pass to Blankenship, trying to free up some space. And now down low over Spainauer. Hands were up. Spainauer still wants it. Ball loose. And Brandstatter somehow corrals it from the pile. Here they go downhill. Sayer's going to get the bucket. No good on the way up.
Maybe just a little bit rushed there in transition from Brandstatter, knowing that you had a couple teammates behind you. Was a little shaken up coming back down the floor, but great job to take it away and stop that offensive possession for Ferrum.
I think she thought she had a defender on her hip too, the way that she turned to try to get that reverse layup off the glass. Here's Ferrum working the other way. Kaysen guarding tightly, and it was good enough. 24-on-24 crime as Williams called for the travel. 7:02 to play in the opening half. Lynchburg just 3 games left on the schedule. They'll be at Guilford, at Averett, and at home for the finale versus Virginia Wesleyan.
Yeah, and just talking about that last play, that's the 3rd time in this contest so far that we've seen Ferrum on offense get just a little bit too deep close to that baseline. And obviously when you use that baseline as a defender, which Lynchburg is doing, you're going to have to figure out how to find that pass, and they just haven't been able to do it to this point.
Kaysen straight away 3, no good. Vandergrift under the bucket. Nothing is going in the paint right now for Lynchburg, and maybe a bit of a frustration foul caught under the bucket. So Ferrum once again going to walk away, preventing those extra opportunities. Travels are tough as well, Andy, because you know that this is something we talked about in the pre-game show about fundamental basketball, trying to prevent those turnovers. But the more that you go into a game, they just become so more crucial, especially if the scoreline stays tight. Thomas blocked by Michael. A little bit of monstrosity down low, but the Panthers will maintain possession.
Yeah, and just to touch on those turnovers, Ferrum already has 7 in this contest. Lynchburg only with 2, but obviously Ferrum shooting so well from the field right now that it doesn't really translate onto the scoreboard. But Lynchburg, positive sign taking the ball away. But if you're Ferrum, you have to be looking up and saying, we've turned the ball over, we've put ourselves in some tough spots, but look, we're still shooting the ball well enough to be in this game.
Well, if you're Coach Nichols, you certainly have to emphasize that in the locker room. Try to get your squad to understand there could be a very favorable 3rd and 4th quarter if you can start shooting. Nichols doesn't like the call as Kayla Cabanis going to step to the line for 2. We talked about it earlier. She's not who you want on the free throw line. Brandstatter looks like it's going to be called with the body contact. Obviously, her hands were straight up.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough call there. Cabanis kind of wrapping her arm around Brandstatter on that one, kind of drawing the contact from her own kind of move there. Maybe Brandstatter not putting the pressure on Cabanis, but either way, good from the free throw line.
Well, and listen, when you can get to the free throw line and you're shooting 86%, you certainly know what you have to do to get those calls. And not that you're always earning them, but you're ready to fire at your disposal. A Spainhour, another one off the mark, another foul a long ways from home. The Hornets have been caught for quite a few. That's our fourth in the quarter. Substitutions, Taylor Brown, Olivia Harris going to step into the contest as well as Sammy Sever.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier the last time these two teams met, very physical contest, 4 players fouling out. I believe Spainhour was one of those, but I mean, good for Lynchburg so far to stay out of a little bit of foul trouble, at least to put them on the line, but Ferrum just knocking them down. Already 7 made free throws in this contest. They average about 13. Good defensive play there.
It's translated to the offense. Great block from Kaysen. Here comes Lynchburg the other way. Harris going to get the call down low. We'll see if it's on the floor. Lynchburg 3-2 in their last 5 games. They've shot 45% from the field and 42% from three-point range in doing so. And so certainly if you get that percentage to climb from now until the finish, looking at some positive results as Harris misses the front end. Something we talked about before the game, Kayla Cabanis, when she really stuffs the stat sheet, lots of categories that are either the lead for the conference or in the top 5, but she does lead the conference in minutes per game, just about 35. And so for Coach Brian Harvey, I think you understand she is willing to be out on the court. You run this offense trying to get her around screens, get her open with the basketball. It's been a nice job today of finding that space, but certainly will be interesting in the ODAC tournament how teams respond. As Lewis trapped down low, gets the pass outside. Cabanis, 3 on the shot clock, gonna have to work one off over Brandstatter, and it's gonna be hand on head, shot clock violation.
Yeah, great defensive pressure there from Lynchburg. Once again, Ferrum getting a little bit too deep, getting stuck there in the paint, but Lynchburg holds their ground, gets that shot clock violation, another turnover against Ferrum.
So we are going to go to break here in the second quarter, but Ferrum playing tough in the Hill City. They're up 2 when we return.
My name is Alexis Fabula. I major in criminology and I double minor in psychology and criminal forensics. My favorite part about Lynchburg is the friends that I've come to have. It's helped me come out of my shell more, and it's helped me become the person I am and the student I am. I really enjoyed how small the campus was, and I also really enjoy how small the class sizes are. It made me feel like I was going to be more engaged than I would at a bigger campus. If someone was on the fence of coming to the University of Lynchburg, I would definitely love to sit down and have a conversation with them because I'm forever grateful that I made this choice. It's definitely something that a student wouldn't regret. Out of my 4 years here, I've not had one bad experience. I've had a great 4 years, and I'm going to be very sad to go.
There's a look at our player to watch, Kayla Cabanis. She has been trying to get her way early in this ball game, but it's been an array of contributors for Ferrum. Blankenship, Lewis, and Williams all have 6. Right now for Lynchburg, Sammy Sever leads the way with 11 points. She has the ball now. Trying to get it to Brandstatter. Post play down low. Here's Brown, lost it. A swipe from Ferrum and another jump ball that's going to go Ferrum's way. So their defense has really played to their advantage. Few very aggressive plays, and they will get the basketball.
Yeah, and after the first quarter, this game sat equal at 20 points apiece. Since then, defense has really stepped up on either side. Ferrum only scoring 3 and Lynchburg only 1 point in the last 5 minutes. Tough scene on the offensive end, but that just means the defense is working even better.
Certainly stop and go. We use the term slugfest. You wonder what this second half will look like if we're still knotted up. Schruffler wants the screen. It's going to be called an illegal one against Cabanis. She can't believe it. And Lynchburg will take the basketball. 4:19 to play in the second quarter. And here comes Brandstatter. She's not wasting any time. The great teams with transition can get it even off makes or out-of-bounds situations. They're always looking to run. Harris finds Brown. A great pass cross court to Kaysen. Another one that rattles off the rim. Lynchburg can't buy a three, and somehow Sammy Sever swipes it and is going to go to the free throw line.
Yeah, but what an incredible pass there from Brown under the basket, met with the double team on the baseline and kicks it to the far side. Sever taking it away there somehow, but she'll head to the free throw line, a chance to extend on her 11 points she's already had in this contest.
That was very impressive, just being in the right spot. The IQ, sometimes those are those fouls that are called and you're just a little frustrated trying to get it right back, but clean look, and Sever gets a chance to tie the ball game. Ferrum throughout the season, we talked about turnovers being a struggle. 28 and 2 affairs during this campaign. So can they limit that down the stretch of this ball game? They have 10 and they're still up 1 in this contest. As Schreffler hits the three from the corner. It has been almost automatic for Ferrum from a shooting standpoint, but you gotta watch Olivia Harris. She plays hide and seek, finds her way off the glass, and keeping Lynchburg right neck and neck.
Yeah, that three there taken by Schreffler for Ferrum, just her second one on the year. Converted on both of them.
That's called confidence, Andy Watson. You get those situations, gotta take the open ones. Trina Lewis tries to get the rebound over top. Instead, Olivia Harris has other plans. Sever gets the three off, and she is feeling it in Turner Gymnasium. Lynchburg up 1. Sammy Sever, talk about a start to this ball game. She has really carried the weight of the scoring for Lynchburg and really just trying to stay out and ahead. Talk about veteran presence from Sammy Sever. She has done a little bit of everything throughout this season. Now 15 points in this contest. Brooke Kaysen called with the personal. Trina Lewis gonna shoot 2.
Yeah, and you can kind of feel the momentum in this building shifting a little bit. That kind of slow style, not many points being scored, plays right into Ferrum's hand. But obviously you get out in transition, good one off the glass, and then Sever knocks it down.
Such a tough style to play against, especially when you're a team that thrives off energy. You talk about the past and ODAC affairs where this Lynchburg squad lost 71-49 in that ODAC first round last season. Cabanis and Aisha Martin combined for 36 points, and that is just so difficult to quiet down. We know that Lynchburg enjoys getting that pace, enjoys having the gym loud. Got to handle business at the right times as Sever trying to get a little more strut in their stride. Pass out to Brandstatter. Faked the pass outside. This time it goes into Spadeauer and swiped away by Trina Lewis. Ball going everywhere, and finally Thomas can get out and run.
Yeah, Lynchburg trying to find that one pass to get the open shot, but Ferrum filling the lanes well with that zone.
Zone defense can be so tough because not only are you communicating, but you gotta limit that high post presence. They've done well so far as Blankenship gets it swatted away. Lynchburg looking to go, Severs down the court, and she's gonna settle for the mid-range. This time no good. That's that up-tempo style. Quick shots, not worried about wasting opportunities. A lot of coaches will try to get your players going to the rack in that situation and drawing contact, but Sever has been really good at the mid-range. Another block for Lynchburg. There's a block party in Turner Gymnasium. Comes Thomas, shot clock winding down, stolen away again. The Hornets defense is out and roaring in the second quarter.
Yeah, I believe that is the 11th turnover committed by the Panthers in this contest, but they still lead by 1. Lynchburg unable to find that one basket to really give them the momentum to pull away from this Panther team, and it's all really started on the defensive end for either side. Ferrum doing a really good job of defending the perimeter. Only 3 threes made though so far for the Hornets, a team who shoots it really well from behind the arc, only shooting 20% here with just about a minute left in the first half in Ferrum. 33% from behind the arc. They're taking advantage of the opportunity when it falls to them. But they're dominating the inside game in this contest so far.
Lynchburg has had opportunities as well from 3 range, just haven't been able to connect. We've seen Sammy Sever get a few good looks at it, 2 for 4 on the day. As Blankenship says, we prefer the paint, another 2. And the Panthers up 3. This is a big possession if you're Lynchburg, trying to get some momentum going into the locker room. Brandstatter, the veteran grad student, trying to really get this team going. Lenny Michael, 3 off the glass, off the rim, no good. Ferrum will get the rebound. They might have one final shot. Thomas looking to get to the hoop, misses it. And maybe a shot at the buzzer. Will it be after the clock? It won't matter as the Panthers go to the half up 3. Coach Brian Harvey's liking it. Lynchburg has some work to do on the other side. We'll be back for our halftime show with some stats, analysis, and highlights. You're watching the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
Tim Slusser from the Outdoor Leadership Program gave a presentation at a teaching and learning resources conference here about getting his program more involved on the academic side of campus. I mentioned computers and mapping, and he mentioned caving, and eventually we came up with the idea of mapping caves.
So the week before, we were able to learn how to use the instruments kind of like on a flat surface and just kind of get a hang of how they work. But it was really amazing how once we got in the cave, it was a completely different experience using them.
It was unique. It got most of us out of our comfort zone, kind of gave us a new experience, a new taste of something new. But I think the most difficult parts were getting the lighting right. You had to read the instruments with the headlamps while keeping your eye pointed on the plot point.
This allowed them to actually literally get their hands dirty, collecting data, conducting measurements, and putting all that together in the form of a map, and doing it in a place that's never been mapped before.
I'm walking around over on the crowd side, I always hear someone yelling, "Hey Nat, take our picture. Hey Nat, get this," or something, or "Hey Nat, you got that shot?" Like, so I'm always like trying to photograph the crowds and my friends calling my name. I think sports at Lynchburg unifies us as a whole. No matter what background we come from, what differences we have, and what experience we've experienced through our lives, it brings us all together and we have one goal, which is to win. As a photographer, I definitely get to capture the emotion and the feel and the atmosphere of what's going on during the games and what's happening in the crowd and with the fans. We have hugely dedicated fans here at Lynchburg. They come out whether it's rain, snow, sleet, windy, no matter what, like they will come out and support their team and cheer them on. They will sit through anything. It's just, it brings us all together as one.
Get your career in the game by enrolling in the University of Lynchburg MBA program with an emphasis in sport management. This program opens the doors to new possibilities for a variety of careers, from being an athletic director or working in athletic administration to working for professional organizations, your favorite team, to running a local Parks and Rec department. And employers are increasingly requesting and preferring individuals who have postgraduate education, specifically looking for an MBA. And so the University of Lynchburg Sport Management concentration in the MBA program sets you up for success, and it sets you apart from the many other people looking for jobs in the industry. Learn from winners. Here you will learn from professors and mentors who have spent their careers doing exactly what you want to do. Increase your marketability in an $83 billion industry. If you have a 3.0 GPA, the GMAT is waived. There's no application fee, admissions occurs on a rolling basis, and our online program is ideal for working adults. When you enroll in this program, you enroll in the opportunity to learn from the best of the best. Your professors have a wealth of experience working in the sport industry that they share with you in the classroom setting. Get in the game by getting your MBA with a sport management concentration at the University of Lynchburg. Just you know, Hollywood, here I come. Hey, I meant, yeah.
The real Lindsay Piper's here.
Autographs there later.
A single thread is unique. Like each of us, full of purpose and potential. A strand designed to connect, strengthen, and unite. But we face different challenges and have different opportunities. By acknowledging that others may struggle in ways we do not, we can celebrate our differences, embrace each other, and fortify the ties among us. A single thread can fray, yet when it's woven with another, a bond forms. A new strength created by the fabric of the whole. Let's embrace the fabric we make together, the diversity of our threads, to reach beyond ourselves and overcome the impossible. The true power of our game comes from unifying our individual backgrounds, connecting our unique stories, enabling us to be stronger, braver, greater. We can achieve so much more when we are all as one.
What a season! The confetti is going to fall. There she goes, and she's down. How sweet is this, and how wonderful for the sport.
Oh, you just never know what you're going to get when you're in Turner Gymnasium. So much fun with some musical chairs at halftime. We even had the president in on the action and everybody getting off to the races. Just one of the opportunities that you get, not just here at Lynchburg, but any basketball game you come out to. It is so special, and look at that. Having some aggression to win it. Andy, you got to love it.
I will say one thing. I do hope that the fans here inside Turner Gymnasium are as excited about the second half as they were about that game of musical chairs.
That's going to be tough.
But we do have some great action on the floor to talk about. And, Evan, it's been Ferrum shooting 41% from the field. They kind of cooled off there in that second quarter. Only 10 points in the second quarter, but Lynchburg only scored 7. They're 3 from 16 from behind the arc, shooting 18%. Not looking like themselves from that three-point line. What do you think Lynchburg has to do to improve on in this second half?
Well, that's a really good question because you can't just really tell the three balls to go in. As you see, 19% in that first half, and so it's really just about doing the little things right, turning defense to offense. We have seen it many times with this Lynchburg women's squad. When they start getting turnovers, they're going to start getting some easy layups, and it's really in the hands of players like Sayer Brandstatter who can control the tempo. But honestly, Ferrum has done such a great job to shut that door, and they understand what Lynchburg's trying to do coming in. And so this little 9 of 10 from the free throw style of game, and you're not always going to get those 10 attempts in the first half, but because they've slowed it down, because they have really commanded the Hornets' attention, they're up by 3 at the half.
Yeah, exactly. And then everything on the defensive end for Ferrum, either going with that full court pressure, that man-to-man defense, and also running that 2-3 zone has given Lynchburg so many things to think about when they're going down onto the offensive end. I mean, it looks different almost every time they go. That full court pressure obviously slows the Hornets down, makes them play later in the shot clock. And then when you go from a man to a zone, you're kind of thinking, okay, the play we were going to run might not work in this zone. We need to get to the high post. We need to get to the corners. And things just on the offensive end haven't necessarily been clicking. But if you're the Hornets, you can look up at that scoreboard and be a little bit content with it. You're only down 3 and you're not playing your best.
Well, and Sammy Sever has been a big reason why Lynchburg has stayed in this ball game. 15 points, 2 steals in that first half. We'll see if other players can get going. Lynchburg 3 and 5 when trailing at the half. They're looking for a fancy number 4. So we're going to take a quick breather. We'll be right back here in the Hill City, and we've got another 20 minutes of action on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
A single thread is unique. Like each of us, full of purpose and potential. A strand designed to connect, strengthen, and unite. But we face different challenges and have different opportunities. By acknowledging that others may struggle in ways we do not, we can celebrate our differences, embrace each other, and fortify the ties among us. A single thread can fray, yet when it's woven with another, a bond forms. A new strength created by the fabric of the whole. Let's embrace the fabric we make together, the diversity of our threads, to reach beyond ourselves and overcome the impossible. The true power of our game comes from unifying our individual backgrounds, connecting our unique stories, enabling us to be stronger, braver, greater. We can achieve so much more when we are all as one.
What a season. The confetti is going to fall. There she goes. She's got it. How sweet is this and how wonderful for the sport.
Buzzer sounds, and we're just about ready for the second 20 minutes as Lynchburg goes out with the same 5 they started with. Ferrum up 3. It's going to be a very interesting 20 minutes, not just for this game, but for the entire landscape of ODAC basketball this season. Standing still getting set right now. Washington and Lee sitting in front. Shenandoah and Randolph-Macon right behind them. Lynchburg is 7th and Ferrum 10th. So that could be something to keep your eyes on as Ferrum immediately into that 2-3 defense that did so well in that first half. And now Lynchburg down to 9 on the shot clock. Sever trying to get to the rack. Foul's going to be on the floor on Trina Lewis. It's going to be Lewis's 3rd of the contest. So not a foul you want in the opening 24 seconds. Trying to space things out. Got the reset on the shot clock. Here's Sever again going to the bucket. It was a great block from Blankenship. Ferrum just trying to go toe-to-toe. They've done so well defensively. Now it's about really protecting their half of the floor and making sure they don't commit turnovers.
And at this point, if you're Ferrum, you're almost happy going back and forth, especially with that slow-paced offense. 5, 6, 7 points seems like a lot, especially when you're not moving the ball all that quickly and not pushing up and down the floor. So a little bit of a run to start this second half, and Lynchburg could be battling from behind the entire contest.
We saw that in the men's game versus Guilford just a little while ago. Those teams who can really get out early and make you think. It's so difficult to try and come back. That's why you want to be in a good spot going into the final minutes. Blankenship establishes down low. Spainhour tips the ball to Sever, and now Lynchburg can run. We really haven't had a lot of emphatic moments in this ball game. It's just been a few shots here and there. We got off to a hot start, trading the mid-range. And this time, Spainhour's pass just sails a little too far for Brandstatter to collect, and Ferrum will take over.
Yeah, and Ferrum in this game has led for just about 13 minutes in this contest, and that'll continue for at least a little while longer. But I mean, it really feels like all the momentum has been on that visiting side. Lynchburg has hit a couple shots to get themselves back within a point or two, but has never found that basket to really retake this lead and grab all the momentum. Maybe that's coming for the Hornets, but Blankenship inside.
It was an easy look, just couldn't get it to fall. Mullen's going to be in the corner. Kaysen just going to take it herself from three-point range, and there we go. Brooke Kaysen making it look easy. Her bread and butter material will tie it up at 30.
Kaysen, after starting 0 for 4 from behind the arc in this contest, knocks down her 5th opportunity, her first 3 points of the game.
Now Cabanis tries to get it into Blankenship. Few quick steps. Ferrum just revolving around the painted area. This time goes up, no good. Spainhour gonna get it, and a foul called on Blankenship. Coach Brian Harvey doesn't like it, walking down the sideline. Could have been a tie-up, and you maybe wonder those calls we've seen throughout this game. We've seen lots of tie-ups, but Lynchburg this time getting away, and this is where you really have to capitalize.
Very important possession on either side. If Lynchburg can retake the lead, it'd go a long way.
Sever does it, make it a 3-point lead for the Hornets. And number 23 has been going off today. She'll have those games and those moments. And here's Sayer Brandstatter breaking away, easy layup. And all fun and games now. Lynchburg up 5. You can tell coming out of the gate, they were ready. And the gun fires, you got to take off. And Sayer Brandstatter intercepting it easily. Some contact off the ball. And now Cabanis will try to get it inside. Another quick pass. Brandstatter going to be out and running again. Bounce pass to Sammy Sever. Cookies on the other end. 7-point lead for Lynchburg. You can feel it. The sweet tooth is rolling for Lynchburg. All candy, cookies, and lots of great execution for the Hornets as they have taken the lead in a hurry. So we'll be back on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Lynchburg up 7. sometimes just seeing it up on the scoreboard will give you a little more confidence. And now Lynchburg, after some shooting woes throughout this contest, gets a few breakaways. They are now up 7 and really feeling it in Turner Gymnasium.
Yeah, Ferrum will need to figure out how to do something on the offensive end to bring themselves back within a couple points. And something we talked about at the top of this game was just when you get down a couple, Panthers can't panic. They know that they have the skill to get inside and score, but can't try and get them all back at once.
We know with that slow style of play, it's all about trust. And looking at the full picture, we know that Ferrum has done a great job so far throughout this ball game, but you got to make sure that you're finishing. As we see a substitution that brings Kaylee Schreffler into the game, as Allison Castle, the 5'10 sophomore from Purcellville, will go to the strike for 2. 9 of 10 in the first half was Ferrum, as this one will hit the front iron. We promised we weren't trying to jinx them, but they are one of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference. That could play to their advantage, especially during tournament time when you never know how those games are going to play out. Brandstatter cross court to Sever. Collects, just throws it away. Always a balance of really understanding when to throw it, when to turn onto the gas pedal. On the other end, no good from Castle. Spainhour off and running. Looks out to Macy Mullins, and Kaysen straight away. No one's guarding her, and she is still firing. Brooke Kaysen, the sophomore from Fishersville, delivers again. Double-digit lead, Hornets.
Yeah, great job there. Brooke Kaysen out in transition, not rushing to get up the floor, just trailing the play, and great awareness by Macy Mullins to find the open player. Kaysen heating up from behind the arc.
Brandstatter, quarterback, pass to Sever. Extra one to Kaysen, and they are loving it. And Turner, 13-point lead. And all of a sudden, you find the key, you unlock the door, and everyone's rushing inside.
16-0 run here for Lynchburg. They trailed by 3. It was 30-27. Lynchburg really figuring it out on the offensive end, and Ferrum struggling just a little bit.
Ferrum has yet to score in the second half. It is only a 5-minute drought, which might not be the worst thing in the world, but the problem is Lynchburg has started flooding the bucket. They are finding looks left and right. That's a foul called on Spainhour. Looks like it's going to be Brooke Kaysen who was called with that late contact as we go to our media timeout. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to take a break here in Turner, but all of a sudden the Hornets are humming in the Hill City, up 13 when we return.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
13-point ball game here in Lynchburg, and Ferrum just trying to find their footing in the second half. They have yet to score a point, but came out with control early in this ball game, certainly not out of it. And out of the gate, it's a great play from Blankenship. Stops and gets the and one opportunity. That's a pretty good draw up if you're Coach Harvey, and now the Panthers can cut it back to 10. Got Spainhour up and took advantage.
Yeah, it's something we've seen all contests from Lynchburg, biting on those pump fakes from Blankenship, especially around the elbows of that paint. And knocking down the free throw. 3-point play gets them back within 10.
When you're not making buckets, you don't have the chance to bring that full court or half court pressure. Now Ferrum sets it up, but quickly will return back as Sayer Brandstatter at the helm, just trying to get some direction. Casey Kelly at the high post. Cross court back to Brandstatter. Here's Kelly. Gonna take the mid-range from the free throw line, rattles it home. Number 20 in white gets a nice look. She thought about it for a second, but smart choice to take it and put 2 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's often the spot when you're playing against the 2-3 zone that you want to get the ball to and then move it from there. I think Casey Kelly maybe just a little bit kind of shocked that she was that wide open, turns and faces up the defender, and a great shot.
On the other end, it's going to be another nice look from Asia Williams. So makes it a 10-point game. Williams has been playing very well, getting some opportunities. But ultimately, Lynchburg now in the driver's seat, trying to see what they can do with it. Mullins gets free, unleashes the 3, no good. And Blankenship collects down low. Cabanis can take her time. Instead, trying to take it all the way. Good defense from Harris. Ferrum just a little disjointed. Somehow Kayla Cabanis gets 2 pump fakes to the bucket, 2 points. And that's what the good players do. Cabanis just understands the game of basketball, and she's out there for the majority of the ball game. Andy, she really has a handprint on the game when she's firing.
Yeah, to this point, only on the board for 4 points, I believe, but still kind of controlling the game with her passing abilities, getting downhill, moving and kicking it. She's been doing a great job this evening for Ferrum.
Casey Kelly, another one of those players who's not always on the stat sheet, but boy, does she have an impact. Extends beyond getting to the bucket or beyond what she can do in the points column. Such an aggressive, strong-minded player as Cabanis shows what she can do on the other end. It's going to be the hoop and harm that will send her to the stripe. Sammy Sever steps into the ball game for Macy Mullins. Here's another look, and that's a tough one, hands straight up, but Cabanis able to earn the call. Mullins is one of those players that will scare you in the postseason tournament because she is so strong when she gets her shot rolling, and those opportunities for Lynchburg are going to be open when you have so many three-point shooters rounding the perimeter. Brandstatter inside to Brown. A few bounces off the rim, and we're sending it home as Taylor Brown, the freshman, gets another open look.
Yeah, great take there for Brown to go fight through the contact and knock that one down. But for Ferrum, they're doing exactly what they need to do. Get downhill, get it inside, and if you make the basket like they did there, everything is great. If you get fouled and head to the free throw line, you have the opportunity to score without time running off the clock, and they've definitely made that a point of emphasis since that timeout.
And Cabanis is so shifty. When she can get you one-on-one, takes advantage as Trina Lewis returns to the ball game. We've seen lots of these Lynchburg Conference games that have gone back and forth, but you look at the top of the ODAC standings, they really haven't struggled against these teams. It's just been coming up with the loss, not playing those 4 quarters. You think about some of these games early in the season. They're 1-6 versus top 6 teams in the ODAC as Taylor Brown gets another chance for an and-one opportunity. 1-6 versus top 6 teams. They've had leads against Washington and Lee, Shenandoah, Bridgewater, and Roanoke at the half. And the only game they ended up winning was Randolph-Macon in second overtime. So you think about the conference tournament, and you're saying, oh, Lynchburg's sitting in 7th or 6th. Well, hold your thought, because you know they can return in a hurry.
And that's exactly why it's so important for Lynchburg to keep fighting, trying to earn that 6th seed to get that bye in that first round of the ODAC tournament. You never really know what could give you that advantage over another team, and getting an extra day to take a break would go a long way for this Lynchburg side.
Well, you have ample time to recover if you do need that game. Those games being played on Tuesday. Tournament will start later in the week, but obviously any game in the ODAC is a tough one at that stage because you're fighting for your postseason to continue, so certainly an opportunity. 2 free throws on the other end for Blankenship. This isn't the only contest going on in the Hill City, as the Lynchburg men's team playing right down the road at Randolph right now, trailing 47-41. So Andy, that could be another contest that goes down to the wire.
Yeah, for Lynchburg, the men's team just about 1 win away, I would say, from earning their spot into that ODAC tournament. Obviously, Lynchburg, the women's team can clinch a spot in there tonight with a win, but the men sitting near that 10th or 9th seed right now. But they've had some very impressive performances on the road. You talked about Guilford earlier, and that was a very impressive performance in here, just overpowered a little bit by just the strength and physicality of Guilford in the last couple of minutes. But both teams here in Turner and for Lynchburg doing a great job of trying to fight their way into a positive position in the ODAC.
Talk about strength and physicality. Everyone getting after it on the jump ball, and so Ferrum will keep it under their bucket. Every game matters at this stage of the season. We've seen it. Lots of heart on display. Cavanis, couple takes on the shot clock off the glass, makes it look easy, and it's just a 5-point lead for Lynchburg now. Brandstatter, they're trying to work down the sideline, evacuates the trouble, and Blankenship called, and maybe a little extracurricular after the whistle. That's where it starts getting fun. You understand how much every game means at this stage of the season. Goes beyond the standings, goes beyond the game of basketball. It's just about wanting to go out and fight for the team wearing your same jersey. Brandstatter understands it very well. Great presence at Roanoke, transfers to Lynchburg, and she has had a very good season. Talked about throughout the season the ups and downs, and she said coming out of that Hollins game, it was 2 of the best practices that they have had. The vibes were just really good, and if you play the way you played against Hollins, that you can compete against anyone in the ODAC tournament. And they're getting a handful from Ferrum and Kayla Cavanis, who has erupted in this third quarter.
Up to 14 points in the contest. Cavanis leading the way now.
Fundamentals on display, and you love that type of passing. Patient look from Olivia Harris. Inserts into Taylor Brown, and final play of the third quarter that has seen lots of back and forth. Lynchburg has gone up 6. Late on the clock, no good, as the backboard lights up in red. Coach Nichols' squad feeling good now. They're up 6, and we got the final 10 minutes on the other side. 55-49 on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Some great sound bites from the Lynchburg band, as Ferrum is going to come out and try to shoot out of a cannon to start this fourth quarter, as it really took them over 5 minutes to even get on the board in that third quarter, and right away they had 19 points in a hurry. Kayla Cavanis added to her total. She has been sensational since the half. 14 points on the day. Andy, what does Ferrum have to do to get back in this one?
I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing. Get downhill, and when that defense collapses, kick out. They're actually shooting the three ball relatively well, but on defense, it's denying those backdoor cuts. If you're going to run that zone, make sure you stay in your spots. Don't let up anything easy, but just stick with what you know, play at your own pace, and try and get to the free throw line as much as often.
Certainly have to slow things down and understand where you're getting your points. Ferrum has used those elbows quite often in this ball game. Lots of screens. It's going to be a three-pointer on the way, and a very good one from Allison Castle. Rattles home. Looks like it will be a 2, so a 4-point game, and Olivia Harris all open on the other side. Alone, awake, and alive is this Lynchburg squad. They're now sitting in front with a 6-point lead. It's a double dribble that will regain possession. We'll have to wait for confirmation on that last shot. It's statted as a 3. Right now on the scoreboard here in Lynchburg, it is a 2, so we'll wait for confirmation. It was updated, so 51 points will stay at 2. Lynchburg trying to add to that total. Kelly, it's Spainhour. Jump ball that will go to the Panthers. They've done a very good job on defense of stealing some of those opportunities.
Yeah, they definitely do a great job of collapsing into those gaps that Lynchburg creates on the offensive end. As soon as it looks like someone loses one of those one-on-one battles, weak side defender always there to help out for the Panthers, but great one-on-one defenders always need a little bit of help, and they've done an incredible job.
Cabanis unleashes a 3, falling down. She is on fire right now in Lynchburg, and it's going to be a timeout to talk things over. 3-point lead for Lynchburg. We're going to take a quick break and step away here on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. Just a one-possession game.
Hi, Mara Willis. How are you? Pretty good.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something. It becomes a family. It doesn't matter how long ago you had your professor, they still remember you, and they remember all of the hard work that you put in. They're always there for you, and they always want to do the best that they can to help you succeed. Here, you learn how to love one another regardless of what's going on or what you believe. You leave here better than what you came in.
Well, as you know, tonight is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. The NCAA features over 2,200,000 women student athletes, 2,200 women student athletes, sponsors 21 women's sports and supports over 10,000 women's teams. So we're so proud to cover and root for not only Lynchburg's women's basketball team, but all of the amazing women's sports teams and athletes on campus. We're going to see what Lynchburg can do to handle business down the stretch. All of a sudden, it's just a 3-point ball game. Kayla Cabanis has shown exactly why she's second in the conference in scoring. Lewis gets the rebound. Ferrum can tie. Set up in that normal formation. 2 players on the elbows. Lots of screens. Cabanis is feeling it now, trying to get that open look. Passes off to Lewis. Pump fake. Who wants the shot? 7 on the shot clock. And Cabanis gonna get that opening. Another 3 lofts over the backboard, and it'll rattle off as Spainhour gets it in transition.
Yeah, great job by Macy Mullins there on the defensive end, realizing that that dribble penetration that they were running to try and get to that elbow was really just to draw Mullins off of Cabanis. Stayed right by her hip.
Spainauer fouled on her way up. Blankenship a little too much contact. That will send Spainauer to the line for 2. Chance to extend that lead. Spainauer has been sensational this season. Huge role since returning. Missed the first couple of games due to volleyball, and ever since that first start versus Salisbury, she has started every game that she's played in. 10.5 points a game, 5.8 rebounds. She's just one of those players down low too, and she has the post presence. She can post up, but also great vision for passing out to the corners. As Thomas walks it up, guarded by Harris, so now a 5-point ball game. If you watch this Ferrum squad, you just notice how much they run off the ball, something that obviously is a result of the coaching, but if you can get those open looks, not exactly from 3, but mid-range or layups, you're gonna have some opportunities as Brandstatter looks out to Kaysen, dribbling inside, traveled. You could tell, just looked a little uncomfortable making that move. We'll concede possession back to Ferrum as Schreffler steps back in the game.
Yeah, and a lot of that turnover there was forced by Blankenship, just kind of staying on the hip of Kaysen. Kaysen thought she might have had a little bit of space to move kind of towards that block, but Blankenship right on her hip, denying that penetration, and then after that, get a little bit too deep and turn it over.
Cabanis whistled for the offensive foul. She doesn't like it. It's going to be on Blankenship. So off the ball, looks like that is foul number 4. So a bit of foul trouble for the Panthers. So we'll see Allison Castle go to the scores table. We won't predict anything yet. Kaysen outside. Rebound was a foul down low as Cabanis is going to get called for that one. Brandstatter took a hit under the bucket. We'll see if we can get a replay. That was very blunt contact. Seemed like they both went up at around the same time. It was tipped. It looks like Brandstatter was almost on top, but Cabanis, it's probably why she's whistled for that foul. This one sneaks away. Ferrum can run. Cabanis, beautiful bounce pass to Trina Lewis. That's one of the best of the game. Kayla Cabanis, when it matters the most, makes it back to a 1-possession game.
Cabanis with her eyes facing the rim the entire time down the floor, looking for somewhere to go with it. Great find, gets back within a possession, but Brandstatter answers.
Sayer Brandstatter trying to slam the door shut. It was a pretty 3 that makes it a 6-point game, and we're going to have another timeout, and we'll keep it right here during this break. So Lynchburg, obviously 3 games left in the season. We have one more broadcast here on LHSN. That's at least what we think as of now. We do know that if Lynchburg gets the chance to host an ODAC game, that there will be an extra one added to the schedule. But senior night going to be the Virginia Wesleyan matchup coming up in a little bit as we see a great look at that Sayer Brandstatter 3. Brandstatter just stuffs the stat sheet. 10 points per game, over 5.5 rebounds, over 3.5 assists. But she is second in the ODAC. Talked with Coach Nichols before the season. They called her a Swiss Army knife. She can do a little bit of everything. Boyd and Lynchburg enjoy having her along for the journey. Ferrum will try to get things rolling. They have really stuck with Lynchburg since that run. Just unable to equalize. Gym very full here on the student side as we've had lots of festivities, lots of fun trying to cheer home this women's squad. As Lewis goes up and gets fouled, she'll head to the charity stripe. Before Ferrum won that game in last year's ODAC tournament, they had lost 10 straight against Lynchburg, and it seems like since that tournament game, we have just seen some tight contests. Maybe that goes for confidence. You know, if you've seen yourself stick with an opponent you've proven that you can be there and just trying to hang with the Hornets down the stretch.
Yeah, and it really showed the last time these two teams met. I mean, Ferrum taking the lead into the fourth quarter of that game, a 4-point lead, and then they kind of gave up a little bit too much on the offensive end. You could say Lynchburg pulled away in that game, scoring 32 points in just the fourth quarter by itself. But, I mean, Lynchburg has done a really good job in this game of just maintaining kind of that feeling of momentum, just trying to stay in front. Once they took the lead, they've really shown that they can hold it. And only one-on-one offense has really been their issue.
It was a quick spurt of energy. Grandstatter going to sell it, and offensive foul, and Schreffler just in the wrong spot, couldn't avoid her, and now Lynchburg takes over. Quick math, you score 32 in 4 quarters, you're getting 128 points per game. I mean, Lynchburg already has the program record this season. They scored 104 against Wilson, but certainly some crooked numbers. Might they have that in store in tournament time? That would be something fun to watch. Brandstatter will rattle out that 3, but the pass escapes everyone into the bleachers. So the Hornets will keep the basketball.
Yeah, tough look there for Schreffler trying to get it to one of her teammates, moving it up the court, but just caught onto the basket. Good defensive pressure from Lynchburg on that rebound. Put pressure on the Panthers.
Well, sometimes turnovers can really dictate things, but situation where Lynchburg got a little too pedestrian with it, and the foul's going to be called on Brooke Kaysen. 4th foul on Kaysen, so a little bit of foul trouble on both sides now, as we know Blankenship went to the bench as Casey Kelly steps back in. 4:38 to play, and we are far from finished. If you're just joining us on LHSN, we've had a very fun contest. This is the only game in Turner Gymnasium tonight. The men's squad on the road at Randolph. Cabanis misses close to the bucket. Brandstatter, uncharacteristic pass. Both teams just wasting some opportunities, and now it just becomes very apparent if you can make a run these final few minutes, this game could take a huge turn. Who do you rely on in these situations? Kayla Cabanis has been sensational. Talked about Sammy Sever leading the team with 20 points for Lynchburg. Who wants it now? Cabanis isolated with Macy Mullins, uses the screen. Can tell she wants to get to the bucket. Tight D, pass goes over the top, and a really locked down possession for Lynchburg.
Yeah, great job keeping Cabanis from getting downhill, and then even kind of the box out on a pass that looked like it might have been something positive for the Panthers ended up being another turnover. They're up to 18, I believe, on the game. But Lynchburg has turned the ball over a little bit here in the second half as well. They're up to 13 in the game, and that's really going to be that focal point for either side in these last 3.5 minutes, taking care of the basketball and taking advantage of your opportunities in close.
Credit to Ferrum. Who would think that they would have 18 turnovers in this game? Lynchburg 18 assists, yet this game would still be a 4-point affair. They have done a very nice job of clawing back when they've needed to, slowing down the pace. Really just a couple buckets away from tying it.
Yeah, and Ferrum has done a great job of just sticking to what they know. Obviously, shooting 44% from the field, getting it inside, getting easy looks, and then heading to the free throw line where they've knocked down 15 free throws on the game. They're finding a way to stay in this contest. They just need that one basket if they want to work their way back into the lead.
See what the call is. It was getting close to 5-second violation, and Coach Brian Harvey gets the timeout. So we're going to take a quick final break. Mayhaps we'll have to see. Lynchburg up 4 in the Hill City. We've got a fun finish on the other side.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and ropes course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
.306 to play in Lynchburg, and the Hornets holding on to a 4-point lead. Can they nurse it home? Ferrum has brought the fight the entire game. It started out trading blows, but Ferrum had really kept the momentum. Cabinets maybe forces a three, but offensive rebound. Trina Lewis gets it back. Here's Blankenship playing through contact. Wanted the and one. She'll go to the line for two. That pump fake has been lethal all day long.
We've seen that move about 5 times now, and it has worked every single time, whether Blankenship's drawing the foul on the drive or converting on the and one opportunity. I mean, they obviously know exactly where they need to go if that first opportunity isn't there, and she's converted nearly every time.
Targeting Spainhour down low. You'll see down the stretch, you wonder if they go to Blankenship. Cabinets had that opening three. Not necessarily a bad look. We know that Cabinets can make them when she's open, but statistically this season, Ferrum knows that they are going to stick to trying to get to the paint. Brandstatter in trouble, throws it away again, and Ferrum has the ball, down 2. Steals another one. How many passes have we seen get away in this fourth quarter? Both sides. Cabinets gets it back outside to Blankenship. Great fake, and takes the mid-range over Kelly. We're all square in Turner Gymnasium.
Yeah, Lynchburg has struggled inbounding the ball. They've been just kind of getting stuck in those corners, but great job there to break the pressure, and still an opportunity to retake the lead with just about 2 minutes remaining here in Turner Gymnasium.
Macy Mullins smart to just pull this one back out. We've talked throughout the game about the change in styles. Lynchburg 23 fast break points to Ferrum's 2. But obviously that full court pressure has given some problems. Sever, no good. Kelly wanted the offensive rebound instead. Blankenship brings it home. Coach Harvey saying we can slow down, get a good possession. Two teams who really need this ball game. Who wants it more? Pass inside to Lewis. This on Cabinets, gets her way and breaks to the bucket. Ferrum has taken the lead, and after a monstrous Lynchburg run, Ferrum has found their way back.
Yeah, Ferrum got a couple of good opportunities there. Lewis, just a great find to find Cabinets cutting to the basket, and now really crunch time here for the Hornets. Need a basket, huge possession here in Turner.
Spainhour gonna square up, looking for Sever. Gets to the rack, off the backboard, off the rim. Macy Mullins outside for three, no good. Rebound corralled by Thomas. Bodies all over the floor. We have seen hustle throughout. 45 seconds to play. And foul will be called on Brandstatter. Not a team you want to have to start fouling with the clip in which they shoot their free throws, especially Kayla Cabinets, shooting 86% this season.
I think that foul there from Lynchburg was a pretty smart idea when you think about they had one to give. You don't have to foul yet. If you wait a little longer to use that one foul, you never really know what's going to happen on this possession. So there could only be 10 seconds left when they get the ball back.
You can be patient too. You know you're going to get an opportunity at it, but you have to lock down on defense. Cabinets and Mullins squaring up. And a foul on the screen. Wow. That is not the look you wanted. Ferrum had an opportunity, but Castle going to be whistled.
Take another look at it here, and yeah, maybe Castle just turning on that screen when she was trying to set it. Mullins hits the deck in an offensive foul. Gives the ball back to Lynchburg, and a golden opportunity. They get what acts as a stop, another turnover for the Panthers.
Check your pulse, folks. We've got a great one. in store. 2-point game. Lynchburg will have possession. So many options now too, because you know the three ball is going to be open. You have opportunities, but also we've seen Sever try to get to the bucket a few times. Can the crowd get behind this Hornets squad enough? And a 2-point ball game. We'll check foul trouble real quick. Blankenship has 4 for Ferrum. She is in the ball game. And for Lynchburg, Brooke Kaysen and Bree Spainhour both with 4. So should we go to overtime, that might throw a little wrinkle in the plans.
Yeah, the biggest thing here, sorry to cut you off there, but it's to see what defense Ferrum comes out with. They come out in man, maybe you didn't have that play running. They come out in zone, it's something else, but I'd like to see something going to the basket, an opportunity for an offensive rebound or a kick out.
Mullins has the ball, trying to get into the paint. Off the front iron, Cabanis has it, trying to run away with it. Did she pick up her dribble? No, as it's a foul whistled, and they send number 1 to the free throw line. Not the player you want to foul. Still plenty of clock to work with, 15 seconds. We'll see Cabanis worked almost into trouble, and that could have been a situation they could have trapped.
Yeah, and Lynchburg's, obviously you mentioned, still 15 seconds here on the clock. Whether both of these go in or not, you're still going to have an opportunity to come down, get a quick bucket, put him back at the line, and then still have another opportunity to tie this game up or maybe even take the lead at some point along the way. But just important, go out, transition, get a bucket as quick as you can, be calm about it, and then apply that foul.
Coach Nichols wants to talk things over. You don't necessarily need a 3 here, but you have to be about perfect on defense and a chance where you don't want to send this Ferrum squad to the free throw line. Wow, what a fourth quarter we have had. It has been a game of runs. It really started that way. Ferrum went up 6-0. Lynchburg retaliated with 8 of their own. And in a game where it was a 16-0 run for Lynchburg, Ferrum has just snuck back into the party, trying to waltz away with a victory.
Yeah, and you mentioned Lynchburg does not necessarily need a 3 on this possession, but with Ferrum, their mentality most likely going to be if they're driving to the basket, don't foul. You might have that open look on the perimeter if they're trying to apply any sort of pressure in the paint. And for a team who shoots the 3 ball well, I would almost be confident that Lynchburg would take up that opportunity.
Know your personnel as well. Sammy Sever, one of those players who will get to the rack. Kaysen gets Spainhour isolated down low. Great play, and only 4 seconds used off the clock. So Coach Harvey will call the timeout. And now Ferrum just up 2. That was a great draw up, and you really saw the attention with Mullins going to the corner from the get-go. It took everything away from Spainhour down low.
Yeah, just letting Spainhour go to work there on the block. Great spinning move to put that ball up and in. But now important to deny the pass as best you can to Kayla Cabanis. 86% from the free throw line, one of the best free throw shooters, not only in the conference, but in the country. When you look at percentages, she already has 21 points in this game. You have to imagine if they're getting the ball inbounded, that's where they're going to go. But also, don't let them get that run out towards the basket. Apply that foul early if you can't get an early steal. And then just move on and take your chances. Still a lot of time left in this basketball game.
Certainly time to trap, and you have to understand that you let a few seconds go off the clock. Certainly not in danger, but you also can't let an easy layup escape on the other side. No advancing, or it will be out by the Ferrum bench.
Also important to note, possession arrow right now favors the Hornets.
Any tie-up you can get. Be a positive sign. Here it comes. An immediate foul on Cabanis, so not wasting any time. Now send her to the line again. We know she has been just about spotless from the stripe, but you give her enough attempts, she might miss 1 or 2. Got a rebound as well.
5 for 5 from the line this evening.
First one on the way, rattles around and in. This is the big one. Lynchburg again, still not completely in trouble. Should Cabanis miss this one? But it does. Front iron. Brandstatter comes away with it, and immediately Coach Nichols calls the timeout. She was not even letting Brandstatter take a dribble. And here we go, Andy. Hornets just need that three-point shot. You have to venture they're going to try and take it now. Big opportunity to tie it and send it to OT. We've already had an overtime contest in this gym before. We know that Randolph-Macon double OT game was such an important one for Lynchburg and their momentum.
Tough thing here for Ferrum is Lynchburg has so many just great three-point shooters. We talked about Brooke Kaysen earlier today, Sammy Sever knocking down a couple, Macy Mullins, Sarah Brandstatter knocking them down as well. They've come out with that lineup. I mean, there's 4 people on the floor, not saying Bree Spainhour can't do it either, but there's 4 or 5 people on the floor who can knock down that triple to tie this game. So defense on the perimeter needs to be great, but also if you're Ferrum, you could apply the foul and put Lynchburg at the line. It's really up to you, but that foul has to be perfectly timed. You know Lynchburg's taking that 3 most likely. Can't be on the shot.
Could be nifty. Brandstatter to inbound. It's into Kaysen. 6 seconds on the clock. Brandstatter working outside. Mullins has a little bit of space, misses everything. And the buzzer sounds. Ferrum steals one in the Hill City as Mullins had the look from beyond the perimeter. Brandstatter was guarded tightly. She had to get it outside, and Lynchburg falls to the Panthers.
Yeah, the drive there into the paint, maybe not the best move if you're trying to get that three-pointer, but a couple of opportunities there for Lynchburg down the stretch. Just couldn't capitalize when Ferrum was going on that run, and the Panthers are going to walk out of here one step closer to making their way into the ODAC tournament.
You talk about energy. It's a game of runs, a game of momentum. Ferrum just proved they've been in this spot before. Kayla Cabanis is a smooth operator, 22 points. Just really made sure that she handled business in that second half. And Andy, that's what the good players do. We saw what Mary Schleisner did for WNL. Cabanis comes back and shuts the door. So Lynchburg, with 3 games to play, really has to make sure that they can slam the door and find their way into that ODAC tournament, but business isn't handled yet.
No, and Lynchburg close to finding their way into that 6th seed. Obviously, we'll need a lot of things to happen, but you know, with the win tonight, would have clinched their spot to host an ODAC tournament game, but they still have the opportunity to do that. You don't lose very much. You only really gain experience by playing a game this close, especially late in the season. And, you know, for a relatively young team still, this team has a long way to go, but they're inching closer and closer every time they step on this court.
Ferrum averages 19 turnovers a game. They had 19 tonight, but still find their way home. As we said, Kayla Cabanis with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. So sensational up and down the stat sheet. For Lynchburg, it was Sammy Sever who really led the effort, 20 points in this contest, but unfortunately for the Hornets fans, they're going to come away with the loss and just 3 games to go. So our next broadcast here on LHSN is going to be versus Virginia Wesleyan for this women's squad on senior night. We are so glad that you have joined us. We want to thank Kyle Ayers, our director, our entire LHSN crew. On behalf of Andrew Watson, I'm Evan Gates saying so long from the Hill City.